He is a proud owl, graduating from Florida Atlantic University with a master's degree in business. Colin is an avid sports fan. His favorite teams are the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Phillies. His favorite athlete is Kevin Durant. Join us in extending our heartfelt gratitude to Colin for his unwavering service, sacrifice, and continued dedication to his fellow veterans. Colin Durant is the Veteran of the Month presented by ESPN West Palm and Humana.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Bob Saleh out. Goodbye. See ya. Pack your bags. Don't even get a chance to respond. See ya, Bob. Off and away you go. 20-36 as a Jet head coach. Officially fired by owner Woody Johnson. Jeff Ulbrich stepping in from defensive coordinator now as the interim head coach. It's Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3 at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. My name is Colin Russo. Joined across from me is Mike Rizzo, as always, with C-Cat behind the glass on the ones and twos helping us out. The Jets are the story of the day after a terrible loss last week against the Denver Broncos and another ugly loss against the Minnesota Vikings in London. Woody Johnson.
Yep.
Makes the executive decision to fire Robert Saleh from the head coaching spot, and in comes Jeff Ulbrich. And apparently the Jets' problems are all fixed. Wrong. This is reflective of how poorly ran the Jets actually are. Should he have been fired? Yeah. Is it early? Also, yeah. Did they handle it right? No. This has been a disaster from start to finish. And Mike, I wanted to get your take on this because we were talking about how, he's stepping on thin ice.
We could blame it on the hug. He should have never went in on the hug on Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
Is Rodgers running the show? I think we got our answer. Aaron Rodgers is running the show over there in New York, and I understand. I have the I have the comments that owner Woody Johnson made on the firing of Robert Saleh. Read a little bit here, Colin. This morning, I informed Robert Saleh that he will no longer serve as head coach of the Jets. I thanked him for his hard work these past 3.5 years and wished him and his family nothing but the best moving forward.
That's pretty PR reaction if I've ever heard one.
It's PR, and he also continued to say, I believe now is the best time for us to move in a different direction. This was not an easy decision, but we are not where we should be given our expectations. And Colin, we've talked about how we thought the first 5 games of the year, there's no reason that the Jets probably shouldn't be 4-1, 3-2, or at least a winning record by now. They have one of the easier schedules in the National Football League. And we mentioned yesterday as well, if they win on Monday Night Football against the Bills, they will be in first place. So the Jets, I don't want to say, do you want to say hit the panic button? I mean, they hit the panic button and fired him, and they have a chance to be first in their division after Monday Night Football against a struggling Buffalo Bills team. I was a little shocked this morning.
Well, there's 2 ways to look at that. Number one is, was this probably the right move? In hindsight, yes, Saleh was not the right guy for the job. That, without a doubt, I think was the impression that most people got. He has not been successful. The team looked unmotivated, unprepared, and despite the defense playing well, you want to give all the credit to Bob Saleh, you're more than welcome to. But the idea that this was a functional football team is just incorrect, just blatantly incorrect. So the idea that this was the right move, I would agree with. I think that this was probably a long time coming. Now, the way in which they handled it, that is where I have a problem. That is where I think that there is an issue. Allegedly, according to Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, I don't know if this is completely confirmed, but I'm going to do it. Apparently, he wasn't even allowed to inform the team. Mm-hmm. He was escorted out by security.
Yeah, and I have the Pro Football Talk here. Colin says, per multiple sources, Jets coach Robert Saleh was escorted out of the building by the team's director of security after Saleh got the news. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard this. The Pro Football Talk continued to say that the former Browns GM, George Kokinis, was escorted out by security in 2009. But, Colin, my best guess is that tensions got high. Saleh started probably yelling. Now, this is me purely speculating, but I don't, in Saleh's mind, I don't think he got a fair shot at coaching this team this year. That's what happens when you lose like 10-9 at home versus the Broncos and a rookie quarterback. You can't lose that game. We can sit here and argue about the Vikings and the game was close. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers threw a pick 6 in that game, and you lost by 6 points. I just think it's a product of the situation. I told you before the year, I thought something stunk in New York. I thought something was stinky about this Jets team, and they continue to prove that they are a pile of you-know-what right now. That's the best way I could put it. They are a pile of you-know-what right now, and we smelled that stench before the season started. And shocker, Aaron Rodgers is a locker room nightmare. Yeah. Shocker.
He's problematic, and I think that goes without saying. But the idea that they can't even give the guy a chance to inform the team and you got to get him escorted out by security is the dumbest thing. It's extremely unprofessional. He has had to, through thick and thin, had to defend Zach Wilson when everybody and their mother knew that he was not the answer at quarterback there for 2 years. He had to sit there and talk about how he's our guy and allow Rodgers to do his headlines and this, that, and the other. Then he had to deal with the Hassan Reddick situation, which he had nothing to do with. There was a major component of that defense that was being inserted, and all of a sudden he doesn't show up. And Saleh is the one who, in a lot of ways, has to answer for it. Because Joe Douglas does not do media availability like Robert Saleh does. So every week he has to answer for Hassan Reddick and the theatrics that goes on behind the scenes between the front office and Hassan Reddick and his agent. So Robert Saleh had to deal with that. And then he has to deal with Aaron Rodgers. The book comes out. Rodgers is this, Rodgers is that. He was in a cave. He decided he wanted to play for the Jets. Rodgers talking about the Pat McAfee show every week where he either screams wax poetic about whatever's on his mind or he talks about how the head coach doesn't know what he's doing. He has to deal with that. And through the most part, he has a couple bad instances, the offensive cadence thing and this, that, and there's a couple others. But for the most part, he's handled himself fairly professionally. And for the ownership to turn around and unprofessionally let him go, I have a problem with that.
And we know these situations, Colin. We've seen this happen before. He'll talk at some point. He'll talk at some point and kind of open up the curtain for everyone and what it was like to coach Rodgers and work in that building. It won't be
this year. Yeah, it won't be this year.
At some point, he'll open up that curtain. But I want to go back to what owner Woody Johnson of the Jets said about the interim head coach now, Colin, Jeff Ulbrich. Mm-hmm. Ulbrich. He says Jeff Ulbrich will serve as our interim head coach for the remainder of the season. He is a tough coach who has the respect of coaches and players on this team. Do you read into that a little bit? Do you think the players didn't necessarily respect Saleh as the head coach, that the players kind of lost faith in the old gaffer?
I don't think that was a shot. I don't.
You think it was just a PR move?
That's the right thing to say. If that's a shot, then once again, entirely unprofessional. And Woody Johnson has a ton of ties to the UK, so maybe there's a ton of his Jet buddies there, and they lost in embarrassing fashion on Sunday, and maybe that had something to do with it.
And I want to remind everybody too. I know it's been the talking point all day is that Saleh was fired. He's a defensive guy, and his defense has actually been pretty good. And it has been. And the numbers show for it. I always think, Colin, in the National Football League, if you hold the team 25 and under, I call it the 25 and under rule. If you hold the National Football League team to 25 points or under, I think it's a pretty good day defensively. That only happened one time this year where they went 25 or more, and that was against the Niners on the road where they couldn't stop the run. The defense hasn't been the problem. It's been the offense. It's been Aaron Rodgers, and it's been the de facto puppet offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Of course it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. Of course it's not his buddy Nathaniel Hackett's fault. It's going to fall on the head coach. You're not going to fire your quarterback. He's under contract. It's Aaron Rodgers. You made your bed with him. Now you lay in it. This is their way of reacting to an awful start of 2-3. Do I think it's fair? Absolutely not. Do I think he probably should have finished out the year? Yes, but I think the Jets realize they're on a clock, Colin. They're on a clock with Rodgers.
You're a game away, but you're also a game away.
Right.
You can't. This is an expedited process. That's.
But doesn't that work more towards Salah's case of sticking around? Is that they're a game out of first place and you're firing me?
To the flip side, I don't see a future here, but I can't wait and see and then do a due diligence process at the end of the year. Since this might be the last year we get of Aaron Rodgers, which is what Schefter said earlier today on ESPN Radio, that this might be the last year of Aaron Rodgers. If that's the case, then, and Rodgers is for some reason not in cohesion with the head coach, yeah, you got to get him out of there.
And I also think...
So I understand that. I
also think Woody Johnson, the owner, looked at the schedule. Home versus the Bills. I know the Bills have been struggling. I still rate them. I think they're a good team. At Pittsburgh, they have an inept offense, but an elite defense with an absolute animal leading the way with T.J. Watt. At New England, it's kind of a dog. And then home versus the Texans. This is their toughest stretch. This is their toughest stretch of the season coming up. So I wonder if he looked at that and said, I need guys that are running the show that have to know what they're doing. And maybe he thought Salah just wasn't the guy for the job. The disconnect between Rodgers and the press conferences, the not hugging, and whatever we want to make of this, something stunk there. And two things. I think it's fair play to make a move. Fair play to the owner to make a move if he felt it wasn't obviously the 2-3 start wasn't good enough. But also I feel I'm kind of a fence sitter on this. I feel for Salah, who's a game out of first place, but I also understand what the owner is doing here. He wants to take advantage of Aaron Rodgers and what could be his last year. But I think everyone is avoiding the biggest problem. And right now, the biggest problem is Aaron Rodgers does not look like an elite quarterback. That's the elephant in the room.
And to get the best out of Rodgers, in his mind, if it was getting rid of the head coach so Rodgers can play freely, play confidently, whatever it may chalk up to, he is the golden boy that's going to get catered to. And that is the reality of the situation. You are on a clock, like Mike said, with Aaron Rodgers' career at this point, because all of a sudden you're going to be back can come 8 months if he decides to retire. So if he's not happy with the head coach and you're going to fire him anyway, this is the year. Get rid of him. I don't disagree with the move. I disagree with the professionalism attached to it. Saleh, for the most part, handled himself okay throughout all the dysfunction in the Jets, and a lot of it has to do with the front office.
He cleaned up their messes. I love the point you made of Douglas doesn't have to talk to the media. Woody Johnson doesn't have to talk to media. Hell, I could argue Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily have to be in front of a microphone every day. I know he talks to the media, folks, but you get what I'm saying. The hard-hitting questions usually go to the head coach. I think this is foul play if you're Saleh, but like I said about the owner,
so you want to keep him around for what? They're not playing well.
I just don't think it's his fault. I don't think there's going to be a new head coach bounce here with
they haven't been prepared.
Jeff Ulbrich. I don't think that Jeff Ulbrich is going to come in here and wave his magic fairy godmother wand and have Aaron Rodgers play like it's 2020 or 2021.
Now, I think part of it is they offensively, whatever you want to call it as, they haven't been playing with a lot of guts. I think we could agree on that, right?
I agree, and that's why more or less I think it's on Rodgers and it's on Hackett.
Yeah, but also
Hackett is lucky to have a job.
A motivation thing is reflective of the head coach. And handling, making sure the team is motivated and prepared. It's not like Saleh was great last year. It's not like he was great the year before. Head coaches are supposed to win games. They're not supposed to have a good one side of the ball. He didn't.
I just think Rodgers should be held accountable.
I agree, but how are you going to hold him accountable mid-year?
It's a good point.
You got to hold somebody accountable.
And Saleh is the one that is being held accountable, but The biggest thing that I don't think Jets fans necessarily, I think Jets fans see it. I think Jets fans see that Aaron Rodgers isn't the Aaron Rodgers that they necessarily traded for.
And I think they're upset with how much of a distraction he is in the locker room.
And you talked about the head coach getting guys ready and motivated. I want to be careful here because I don't want to come out and say Rodgers is a cancer to the locker room. I think that would be unfair of me to say.
They said that when he was on the Packers, so it's not a new idea.
I think it would be unfair of me to say he's a cancer, but he's certainly a distraction. And I wonder how much motivating and coaching or whatever you want to call it you can do when you have a distraction that is Aaron Rodgers in the locker room. Colin, I don't think this is a Deshaun Watson situation with how bad this trade was in the contract or whatever. But I do think that Jets fans are starting to smell, they're starting to smell the dumpster a bit. They're starting to smell that, as Mr. Krabs says, that smelly smell that I smelled before the season.
888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. That's 888-760-3776. Who is the cancer here? Has it always been a Robert Saleh problem all the time? Or is this more reflective of Aaron Rodgers? Is this just general Jets dysfunction that was lasting way before Saleh and Rodgers got there? Is it all three? Let us know. 888-760-3776. We continue the conversation. Give our reactions to the Chiefs' victory over the Saints on Monday Night Football next. It's Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Sports fans, it's the best time of the year. It's fall when everything is happening. Football's back. Fighting gets real. Baseball playoffs. Get ahead of the action. Plan your time now to be at Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge, the ultimate sports lodge. Never ever a cover to watch any fights, any MMA, UFC, or boxing pay-per-views. Always watch for free. Of course, the eats, the drinks, the signature scenic views, and of course, Twin Peaks 29-degree ice-cold beer made from scratch favorites like their burgers, wings, mozzarella bites, and so much more. Happy hour weekdays. Take advantage of $5 man-sized drafts. And remember, never ever pay a cover to watch any of the fights. Your official UFC fight headquarters is your official football headquarters all week long, all season long. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beers. Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge for everything sports.
Hurricane fans, get ready for one of the biggest rivalries in college football. On October 26th, it's the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles at Hard Rock Stadium. It's an orange out, wear orange, and bring the noise in a game you don't want to miss. The Canes and Knowles, October 26th. Tickets are going fast, so secure yours now by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Hi, this is Evan Cohen. I'm back, baby! Unsportsmanlike every morning, 6 to 10 a.m. right here on ESPN 106.3.
Does your business leave a lasting impression? Attractive, eye-catching signs help you stand out from the crowd and create a strong brand identity. Our team at Signorama West Palm are experts in helping your business get noticed and get effective signage in front of your potential customers. Our team can turn your blank windows or plain vehicles into money-making branding machines by drawing customers' attention to your business. So if you're looking to leave that lasting impression, call us 561-687-7993 or visit SignoramawPB.com.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen for the Accident Attorneys, Anajar and Levine. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Did you get injured on the job? Workers' comp problems? My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, they will fight for you. Remember, they do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation you know you deserve. Here's what you do. You just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Good grief. unique. Moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling and Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, it's your boy JC. The Buffalo Bills caught lying about Josh Allen's concussion. We have the evidence. Today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Bob Saleh out for the Jets. Jeff Ulbrich in. Aaron Rodgers, is he to blame? Is Woody Johnson to blame? Who's the biggest cancer? Is this a mixture of everything? You got 3 cancers in one locker room with Saleh, Rodgers. You could even include Joe Douglas, Woody Johnson. Is this just a whirlwind, a hurricane of bad ownership, dysfunction, the whole bit?
I love that you call him Bob. I've never heard that. Is that a Jet fan thing?
No.
It's just a you thing.
It's a Robert thing. Robert is a Bob.
Bob Saleh. It's a new one on me.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. And the number to get into the program, 888-760-3776. We'll talk with Mike Tannenbaum, former Jets GM, in just a few short moments. Next segment. But 888-760-3776. Is this a Rodgers problem, or was this a Salah problem? Or even if you want to, is this a Woody Johnson problem? Let us know, 888-760-3776. In the meantime, outside of the Jets thing, the Chiefs, once again, last night on Monday Night Football, played, I would throw the word not great, poorly out there, if you will, but they won again. 26-13 final on Monday Night Football on ESPN at home. Mahomes has not been playing well. And the Saints put on no performance. Let's put it that way. But from what I saw yesterday, the Chiefs are just edging their way through the regular season, sneaking wins left and right.
Wait a minute, Colin. What's their record?
5-0.
I think that's all that matters.
And they don't care. They don't care, and you could see it. They don't care how well they play. They don't care about the statistics. They just want to win the games, and when the postseason comes and they're 13-4, they're going to turn it up.
About everyone saying they need a wide receiver. And then Juju Smith-Schuster goes for, 7 for 130.
The wide receiver is not important to the Chiefs.
Remember the whole last week, the Jets need to trade for Tyreek Hill. The Jets need to trade for Devontae Adams. Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 for 130. And then how about this? Kareem Hunt, 27 carries for $102 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt from my neck of the woods in Northeast Ohio.
Great coaching, great organization,
and then
can get the best out of their players. They don't need the star.
And then Mahomes, 331. I understand he had the interception. His season tally, by the way, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But 331, it's a lot of, Colin, in a league that's struggling for passing yards right now, 331 yards is a lot right now. So he was slinging the rock.
This was a week of offense.
Right.
I don't even think he played that well. Yeah, Mahomes had a couple of plays that makes Mahomes look like Mahomes. And the rest of the game, it's a lot of stagnant, not a lot of methodical drives. It just doesn't look like the Mahomes that dominated the regular season a couple of years ago. But I don't think it matters. I don't think he cares. So people wanting to call fire on Patrick Mahomes and the fall off that is associated with him, forget it. Forget it. You're going to be saying the same thing come February. He is inevitable. That is the problem with him.
A lot of field goals, 4 field goals. I feel like they were really just struggling to get in the end zone. But I got to remind everybody, too, the Chiefs' defense is still the Chiefs' defense we saw last year. I know they had a couple of missing pieces. They had a corner.
They lost Snead.
Yeah, they lost the corner. But this is still a really good defense that I thought pestered Derek Carr a lot, made things tough. 9 quarterback hits in the game. I know they only sacked him one time, but they had 9 quarterback hits in the game and were able to get him off of his footing, off of his game. And I just go back to 331 passing yards for Mahomes. The offense was clicking. They just couldn't punch it into the end zone, and it doesn't really matter when your defense is going to play as stout as it is. I'm a nerd, Colin. I love the early Avengers, Infinity War specifically. That Thanos says, I am inevitable. And that just seems like what the Chiefs are. It's what's going to happen. Like, they're 5-0 and 3-0 at home. You know they're only going to lose 2 or 3 games at home and probably lose 4 to 5 games in the regular season and probably get the 1 seed in the AFC. They're going to have Taylor Swift up in that suite and have home playoff games, and they're probably going to go to the Super Bowl again. The
real question is, who's their challenge in the AFC? Who is that team?
It's wide open.
Who is it?
It is so wide open. The Texans? My best guess at this point, I wrote down the best.
Texans were an inch away from losing to Jacksonville a week ago.
And also, I could argue did not play well in a game against the Bills where Josh Allen went 9 of 30. But the Chiefs 5-0, the Texans 4-1, and then the NFC side for speaking terms, Vikings 5-0, Commanders 4-1. Those are your best teams in the NFL right now.
Well, in the AFC, who is challenging the Chiefs? Who?
It's probably
the Ravens already beat them.
The Bengals, I think, are done. Personally,
probably.
I think the Bengals are done. The Bills need to turn things around,
and they already beat the Bengals.
Correct. I'm not. I know the Bills have been struggling, but the Bills and Josh Allen turned things around towards the end of the year. I think the Bills can make a conversation. I think if the Houston Texans keep playing complimentary football, and I think if C.J. Stroud continues not to turn the ball over in crucial moments, I think they're going to be right there too. My 2 best guesses would be the Texans and the Bills. But to your point, I don't think there's a clear-cut answer, and I think the AFC outside of the Chiefs is as wide open as it's been in years. I'm still, no offense to CCAT, who we'll talk to here in a second, I'm not sold on the Ravens either. Just because of the playoff woes. The Ravens are going to have a fantastic regular season. We know this. They're going to win that division with how bad Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and the Browns have been. Pittsburgh as of late, I know they're 3-2. They've lost 2 in a row. But I'm not sold on any of these AFC teams.
The answer is there's no team. There's none. There's no team in the AFC that could challenge the Chiefs. There's none. And it's unfortunate because there's a fatigue attached to it. And Mahomes, in a lot of ways, Michelle Smallman, just to plug that program, on Sportsmanlike in the morning, said that Mahomes doesn't have a rival. That's why there's fatigue, and she's right. There is no rival to Mahomes. There hasn't been since Tom Brady hung him up.
Well, we thought there was going to be this great rivalry with Josh Allen, Joe, all 3 of them, Allen, Burrow, even had Jackson in
Burrow
there.
Might be, Burrow, if you want to include that, what has Burrow done? Really? He's beaten him once in the postseason?
Won a trophy?
I can't get into it. I can't. There's nobody that's going to challenge the Chiefs, and they're not even playing that well. But winners know how to win, and they have perfected the art of winning ugly, winning clean, winning gritty, and winning smooth. That is what they have perfected all arts of winning. Patriots did that. Patriots won ugly. They could win gritty. They could win smooth. They could win high flying. That's what the Chiefs are right now. And there's got a bunch of teams that are trying to figure out how to win when they've mastered every art of it.
You bring up the Patriots of old. A lot of similarities between the Patriots, well, at least this current Kansas City team. I think there's a lot of similarities with this current Kansas City team that's defending back-to-back champions and the Patriots of past. Elite defense, elite head coach, elite quarterback, and Colin, a whole bunch of guys at receiver. Let's not forget, I know Wes Welker and Julian Edelman had some good years with Brady, but the only year they had a truly elite wide receiver was the Randy Moss year where they should have went undefeated, but they didn't have any hardware. But more fuel to my point, a bunch of guys at receiver, an elite defense, elite quarterback, elite head coach. It's the blueprint. It's the blueprint.
They know how to win. There's no challenge to them in the AFC at the moment. There's none.
But would you agree that there are similarities with the Chiefs and the Patriots right now?
I mean, yeah, it's different because they just play different. But in terms of structure, yeah. They got good ownership. They got a good home field advantage. They dominate their division consistently. They know how to win a big game. They can win in all types of facets. The Chiefs can beat you 49-7, or they could beat you 16-13. They know how to win every type of game. They know how to win come from behind. They know how to win keeping a lead and not blowing the game, Kyle Shanahan. They know every facet and every avenue to win a game. It doesn't matter how they play. It doesn't matter Mahomes is not looking like the Mahomes in 2019 when he had 50 touchdowns. It doesn't matter. They know how to win. And that's what Brady did. People wanted to bash Brady. Oh, he's not as talented as Rodgers. Well, Brady knows how to win more than Rodgers. You're seeing it again. That was always the knock against Brady. People, the revisionist historians like to say how perfect he was. Brady had a lot of problems in the regular season and a fair amount of times.
This is a copycat league, and you simply can't copy what the Chiefs are doing, in my opinion.
These quarterbacks have issues, and now you got somebody who is unrivaled in quarterback play. That's the take. Unrivaled. Lamar's not rivaling Mahomes. And Burrow, if you want to include Burrow, Burrow's not even going to see him there.
They're 1-4 this year. It's Allen. Your only hope is in my.
There's no hope. There's none. I'm out.
Can I give a sliver of hope for the NFL fan out there that's tired of the Chiefs? Your only hope in the AFC is Josh Allen.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there?
That's the only team that has any history with them.
I'm going to take this one step further. I know you're more or less wanting to lock it in the AFC here, Kyle. Is there anybody in the NFC? Is there anybody that can consistently get to a Super Bowl in the NFC? We've seen the San Francisco 49ers get to a Super Bowl, but, like you said, Shanahan blowing games, problems. Can the Lions rival them?
Those are that's where you get to the yeses. That's where you get to the yeses. There's a couple teams in the NFC that
are we sure?
Probably, yeah.
I don't. The point.
They haven't played that great. They play better than the rest of the AFC.
Where I was going with that, Colin, is I don't know if another quarterback or team can rival the Chiefs in the NFC. I thought the best chance people had last year was that San Francisco team, just because it's Shanahan, and I know we've kind of debunked the whole Shanahan thing the last couple of shows here, but the Shanahan factor, the defense factor, the running the football factor, like I thought it was the perfect storm against Kansas City in that Super Bowl last year, and they lost in OT.
Yeah. 888-760-3776. That's the number to get into the program. 888-760-3776. Do we have somebody on the line here, C-Cat?
Got Ryan in West Palm Beach.
Ryan in West Palm Beach joins the program. Ryan, what's on your mind? What's going on?
Russo, when I heard that you had your own show, because I'm a huge fan of your father's, and then, I clicked over here, and I'm a big Chiefs fan, and every time I listen to you talk, you keep saying the Chiefs don't play well. They don't play well. They're not winning. They're not winning big. They're not doing. What do you want? What do you want from us? We go out there and we just win.
You're sitting there.
You talk about all right.
Yeah, I agree. You're on that white horse, saying you guys are 5-0. I understand that, but you haven't. You thought yesterday was pretty.
Well, what do you expect? It's a David Carr team. A Carr team. He's going to turn it over. We're going to run the ball, and we're just going to dink and dunk it just like Brady did for 20 years. And we're just going to end up winning.
Would you agree? Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to. Mahomes isn't going to throw, 30, 45 touchdowns like he did because we don't have any wide receivers. We have a great defense. Just lean on the defense.
I don't disagree.
That's how we're going to play now.
I don't disagree. Now, do you think there's a rival in any sense from a Chiefs fan perspective? I'll leave it to the NFL, but also in the AFC.
Well, you mentioned the Bills, and then I thought to myself, it could have been Josh Allen, but Mahomes never went 9 for 30 on the road and lost like the Bills did on Sunday. Mm-hmm. It could have been Burrow because their defensive coach is a genius and he owns Mahomes, but they always seem to screw up, when it matters. And you brought up Shanahan, but Purdy is still Purdy. He still can't show up when he comes up, when it's clutch time.
And you're not afraid of the Lions?
I can't really think of it. No, I'm not afraid of the Lions. Are you? Who would be afraid of the Lions? You get Goff outside of Detroit.
I'm with him on. Hey, I'll say this. I'm with him on the Goff thing. Okay. I am.
I appreciate the call, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
From West Palm, joining in.
Colin, he does have a point.
He's done it in two places. He's done it in two places. He's done it in two places, Goff. I understand Goff is not the prettiest quarterback in the world, but in terms of roster construction, he's done it in the Rams. He's doing it with the Lions, and with a first-time head coach.
But you're not scared of him. I'm not. I don't.
You don't need to be scared of him. He needs to win. That's that.
I don't look at that. I don't look at it and go, "Oh man, you better look out for Goff."
There have been non-scary quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls.
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, sure. I guess.
That's the best one I could come up with.
Yeah,
Dilfer.
Foles.
Hang on. You're the one who talks about magic and mojo, and that was magic and mojo right there.
And can the Lions harness that? Are they the prince that was promised?
But I am with Ryan in a sense of, man, we really are nitpicking the Chiefs, aren't we? That guy had a point. I mean, they're 5-0. They're back-to-back champs. And if I was a betting man, if I was going to the Hard Rock Bet app, CCAT, I'm putting the only bet I would place would be the Chiefs right now. That would be the only bet I would place would be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, this is what they do. We're going to talk to Mike Tannenbaum, former executive vice president of football operations for the Dolphins, former general manager of the New York Jets, and current ESPN NFL insider in just a few short moments. It's Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3. You heard it right there. Hard Rock Bet. It's now legal in Florida. It's Florida's only legal sportsbook. You've now seen the first few weeks of football play out. It's time to try your first bet on Hard Rock Bet. Each game you can bet on the touchdown scores, passing yards, other stats, total points, who will win, so much more on Hard Rock Bet. You could also bet on college football. You could bet on the MLB, the divisional series going on, each series at 1-1. There's a ton going on there. If you don't want to bet a ton of money, you could try a parlay. In week 1, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16 in all their picks in a parlay, turned $15 into $104,000. They did that on Hard Rock Bet. You can too. All you got to do is get started today. If you're not sure what to bet, Hard Rock Bet has their Discover page, which is the trendy picks, the promo picks, the great parlays. They give you a visual component. Hard Rock Bet is so well organized for the new player. It is also perfectly laid out for the experienced player who wants a little more sophistication. They got it all covered on Hard Rock Bet. Get started today. Download Hard Rock Bet on the App Store or Google Play Store, or go online to hardrock.bet. Try today once again and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not pan out. Your first bet can be a parlay, prop, the over, whatever you like to bet. You could do it with that first one. You need to either win your first bet or you get the same amount back, paid as a bonus bet. Get Hard Rock Bet today. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Don't go anywhere. Speaking with Mike Tannenbaum coming up next on Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Get ready to rev your engines because NASCAR is coming to Homestead Miami Speedway with the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs and NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs doubleheader. Want tickets? We got them. Listen to ESPN 106.3. You may play our NASCAR or the movie Cars trivia game. Call in to Theoretically Speaking or Russo and Rizzo when we tell you to. Follow ESPN West Palm on all platforms and be on the lookout for contest details. To purchase tickets, visit HomesteadMiamiSpeedway.com.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-FREE. Listen, if you were in an accident, car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, injured on the job, workers' comp issues, call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They will fight for you. They do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation that you know that you deserve. Do not deal with the insurance companies on your own. That's impossible. They make it as such. Anajar and Levine will help you to take back control of your life. Again, you'll always talk about your case with an actual attorney. They answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you to take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Call Anajar and Levine, my accident attorneys. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Colin Russo here with ESPN West Palm. It's the home of live play-by-play sports. Catch all Miami Hurricane games. Catch all Miami Dolphin games right here on ESPN 106.3. Presented by Hard Rock Bet, Florida's official sports book. For the first time ever in Florida, bet on the Dolphins and Hurricanes all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey, you! It's me, Evan Cohen, from Unsportsmanlike with Canty and Michelle. That's all. Just wanted to say hi. Call me later. Bye.
I'm Wendy Sartori-Link, your Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. Election Day is November 5th. Voting by mail is easy and secure. Request online at votepalmbeach.gov or call us at 561-656-6208. Return your ballot with prepaid postage or drop it off at one of our secure locations during designated hours. Our online ballot tracker allows you to get live updates on the status of your ballot, and the deadline to request is Thursday, October 24th. No matter how you vote this November, we're here to make it count. Sponsored by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Office.
Mega Thrills at Rapids Water Park. Mega Fun. And new Mega Mayhem, now open. The first dueling water coaster in Florida. Buy single-day tickets in advance online and save. Only at South Florida's Mega Thrill capital, Rapids Water Park.
It's that time of year again. Preparations are underway for Clinics Can Help's 11th annual Golf Classic at the Wanderers Club. This fun-filled event works to raise money to provide customized medical equipment and supplies to many children in our area in need. Get your foursome together and join the festivities on Friday, October 11th, and make a difference in helping these children live a life of independence and dignity. Register today at clinicscanhelp.org.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Story of the day, of course, being Robert Saleh out as Jets head coach. Fired by Woody Johnson. It was an owner of the decision. You haven't heard much from Joe Douglas. But Jeff Ulbrich stepping in as interim instead of Nathaniel Hackett. The Jets have a longer week and play the Bills on Monday Night Football next week. Joined now by former GM of the aforementioned Jets, former executive vice president of football operations for the Miami Dolphins, and current ESPN NFL insider Mike Tannenbaum joining us now. Mike, what's going on? How you doing?
Doing, Mike.
Good afternoon, guys. What a day.
What a day indeed. We'll start with the elephant in the room. Rob Saleh gets out here. Mike, this is not necessarily a surprise that he was fired. I think the timing of it was, from your perspective, and you have expertise in sort of how these things are handled, this early in the year, is this a panic move, or is this because the clock's ticking on Rodgers and we need to get the best out of this team right now? What is really the baseline of firing him this quickly into the season?
Yeah, I was part of firing Joe Philbin and hiring Dan Campbell. That was after 4 games, and we just felt like we could do better. And Dan Campbell was a rising coaching star and did a great job for us. And then I think in a situation like this, it's very similar where if they win Monday night, they're in first place. It's a lot of the season left to be played, and after being 20-36 guys, it's I don't think it was the wrong decision, just given there was a long body of work and obviously back-to-back disappointing games, both Denver and Minnesota.
Mike, what's your take on people out there saying the defense played well and he handles the defense and it's Rodgers and Hackett on offense?
Yeah, I don't think that's the way you define the job. I think you have to be the chief strategist. And look, I hate criticizing somebody that just got fired, and I'm not second guessing, I'm first guessing, but I just don't think he had the team prepared. I would have played Aaron Rodgers in the preseason and said, hey, look, right now, Brees Hall and, Braylon Allen give us a better chance to win. Let's throw it 15, 20 times a game. And by November, December, we could be hitting our stride. And, he's the CEO. He has to be the strategist in addition to what he's doing on defense.
How do you think the ownership handled it? It seemingly was an executive decision from coming up top. In your experience with, of course, owners that, can sort of step in and executive decision out everybody else, it seemingly that was the decision-making process here coming from up top. Do you think it reflects poorly on them and how this is handled and allegedly, not being able to inform the team himself and the whole bit? What's your takeaway on that?
I've been part of, very tough conversations in my career. And as you know, been on, both ends of those conversations, guys. It's never easy. I had a chance to address the team after I was let go in New York. It was meaningful. I still have great relationships with people both in Miami and New York. That's what's great about this business is, the relationships you can create. I'm sure he's talking to, a whole bunch of people in the building. Maybe he didn't get a chance to formally do it, but I'm not defending how things went down. Obviously, I wasn't there. But what I can say is, there's no easy way to do it.
Can they turn this around, Mike?
Oh, boy. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty old to me, to be candid.
Right.
I think they have to adjust how they look at playing the game. This is not Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay. That's a lifetime ago. That doesn't mean they still can't win, but I want to see them come out in 3 tight ends and throw it. I want to see them come out in 4 wides and run it. I just, I want to see some creativeness on the offense and say, this is not a plug and play, Aaron Rodgers defense. The division is certainly, kind of interesting right now. Miami had a big win, but New England's rebuilding. I don't know. I think they certainly, I certainly think they can. We got a long way to go.
Shifting gears a little bit, but staying in the AFC, Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL Insider, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. We saw yesterday the Chiefs can kind of win in any facet of the game. They could win ugly. They could win clean. They could win gritty. They sort of mastered it and kind of playing into their defense a little bit. The other, in terms of record, the Texans are the ones that kind of stand in the way in terms of a comparison, but they haven't necessarily won that clean either, and they're more unproven. Is there anybody in the AFC that could really rival the Chiefs here? Are they going to be challenged? Or is this going to be where there's so much flaw elsewhere in the AFC and sometimes in the NFL that this is sort of the Chiefs to run away with?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati and Baltimore can go in and beat them. Look, I know that sounds a little bit crazy given what's going on with, Cincinnati's record guys, but I really think their A game is still really, really hard to beat because of the upside of Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. And right now, Baltimore can run the ball, guys. They could stop the run. So I think those are 2 teams that if they have their A game, they have a chance to win.
Mike, how long do you think Andy Reid can do this for? We talked earlier about how I just think the quarterback, the head coach, the defense, the way this Chiefs team is playing reminds me a little bit of the Patriots. Not really a big name at receiver. They win with defense. They win with playing smart. They run the football. How long do you think Andy Reid can do this?
Yeah, I think a while, but I think the other interesting question off of that, to be candid, is can they win without Andy Reid?
Right.
And I think the answer is yes. Is it Spags at head coach? Is it Matt Nagy? I think you have, when you talk to people around the league, I think one of the reasons they're so successful, guys, is Patrick Mahomes wants to be coached really hard. That's a competitive advantage. You're seeing all these other quarterbacks not want to be even playing in the preseason. He wants to be great. That really adds up over time, guys. That gives them a huge advantage.
We know how much talent San Francisco has, and, they're dealing with a bit of an injury bug, contract disputes, aging players. You could go down the list in terms of the things that have been distractions for San Francisco. But the bottom line is they haven't been able to close a game. And I think the underlying theme there with multiple quarterbacks now is Kyle Shanahan has consistently shown an inability to stay ahead in games. And whether it be in the Super Bowl setting or in a conference title game or even 2 of the last 3 games against the Rams, against the Cardinals. And even if you want to go back to Atlanta, his days there, we all know what happened there. This, to me, is a recurring theme. It's an ugly pattern when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, but I want to ask you the question and kind of present the idea that is maybe the walls shrinking in on San Francisco and what they could possibly accomplish with this team. And how do you think this reflects on Shanahan?
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I think this is a team that's, really doing a great job of winning games right now. Creatively, given no McCaffrey and, a litany of other injuries from, Trent Williams to, certainly on the other side of the ball. So some of that Kyle Shanahan criticism to me is a little outdated. Now, look, we'll see who steps up in that division. Seattle goes from 3-0 to 3-2. We have a long way to go, but I think, again, like Cincinnati and Baltimore, if and when San Francisco gets healthy, I think their A game is as good as anybody's in the NFC.
Sticking with San Francisco, Mike, are you a Brock Purdy supporter, I guess, or is that just more or less a system thing going on there?
No, I am. Look, I think he's accurate. I think he's, has great anticipation. I think he plays quick. He's not a frontline athlete, but I think he's a good NFL quarterback, probably top 10 to 12, not top 8. But you can win a lot of games with those players. Like, I think he'll have a sort of like similar career guys to me, like to someone like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and Cousins, I think to this point, has unquestionably had a fairly successful career, and he already has more playoff success than Cousins to this point. Patriots, another story now recently. It's been announced that Drake May is going to be starting this coming game against the Texans, out with Jacoby Brissett after that god-awful game against the Dolphins on Sunday, where neither team could get anything done here. Going with the strategy of letting May kind of get his bearings a little bit a couple games into the year. Is this the right move at this point in time? You think that's 5, 6, 7 weeks period of not playing and letting him kind of establish himself? Do you think that's beneficial here? What's your takeaway with what's going on now that May is under center for the Patriots?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, guys, let's go through this, autopsy here. You have a new head coach, some questionable play calling decisions, in my opinion. They could have kicked the field goal on 4th and 10, made it 15-13, and still have 3 timeouts. But you have a new play caller in Van Pelt. So to me, if I'm running the Patriots, let Mayo get settled in, let Van Pelt get settled in, and I think Drake May has a chance to be really good. I think he's an underrated athlete. I think he could have a Ben Roethlisberger type of career. So, hey, we want him to be great for the next 10 years, not the next 10 minutes. So I think by waiting the way they did was really smart.
Mike, what was the biggest thing that stood out to you over the NFL weekend?
Great question. I mean, there were so many weird touchdowns that happened. It was just one of those weeks, you look at that Denver game against the Raiders, obviously Seattle and the Giants. But I thought what Dallas did Sunday night, they were missing 47% of their pressure players between DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. They lost their left tackle in Guyton. Marshawn Kneeland goes out with a cartilage issue, and they still win the game. I think that says a lot about Dallas's depth. And look, I don't know if they're as talented as they were a year ago, guys, but I think when it's all said and done, Dallas will still be one of the 7 best teams in the NFC.
Mike, I also want to selfishly ask you, as a Cleveland Brown fan, being from Cleveland, what would you do in that situation right now with Watson and what's going on there?
Well, did you hear what our ESPN radio teammate Evan Cohen suggested today?
With the trading him to the Panthers and just having them eat the cap for a bunch of draft picks?
Yeah, so it's really an interesting idea. Like, what you could do is say, like, hey, look, it's not going to work here, so we're going to trade, Deshaun Watson and 2 first-round picks to the Panthers and basically, let them eat $92 million, and they could either give, Deshaun Watson a shot and see if he can work it, need a quarterback at some point, and we'll go out and go get the Joe Flacco's of the world. We made the playoffs a year ago, and it's just not working here. So we'll basically try to buy a couple of, by giving up picks. We're going to buy a way out of this contract.
But Mike, we need picks. That's the only thing that could possibly save us. I could argue draft picks are the most important thing to an NFL franchise, specifically when you're a quarterback-hungry team, and maybe Jimmy and whoever's running the show over there doesn't want to admit it, but they need a quarterback.
Right, but you also have a $92 million albatross.
He's got it, Mike. He's got it.
Right.
He's got it. I just, if you can, I'm very frustrated with the situation going on over there. The Browns were a top 10 offense with Flacco last year.
Well, what do you want them to do then?
And then they tinker and talk. I want them to bench him. I want him to end this nightmare that's going on right now and pretend like you want to win games and stop pretending like you're trying to win a contract. You're trying to prove to everybody, Mike, that the contract isn't a disaster, and anyone with eyes can see it's a disaster.
Well, that's what Evan's idea was, to cut your losses and move on. And the only way a team would ever consider that, let alone the PR issue and all the other things that go along with Deshaun Watson, is you have to give up multiple picks. And then if you're the acquiring team, you have to say, like, hey, maybe we could get Deshaun Watson to be our Joe Flacco and be a Band-Aid and maybe change the scenery. We could salvage something. So if not, what you're going to have is you're going to have Watson on your roster, and you still have $92 million additional dollars that are going to hit your cap in 2025 and 2026.
Yeah, it's a logistical nightmare, PR disaster as well. I don't think there's a clean mark on where this can go for the Browns, whether either they're going to pay up on the contractual end of things, or they're going to pay up on the draft ends of things, or they're going to pay up on the win columns of things. So there doesn't seem like there's a proper way that they could really handle this.
Worst contract in NFL history, right, Mike?
It's in that conversation for sure. But look, they went to the playoffs last year. Let's give them that credit.
With Flacco, with my guy Big Bird, with Joe Flacco. Wish he was still here.
And look, he's not been bad for. I mean, if you said to Shane Steichen right now, you have one job for your life, are you going to put in Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco? I think that's probably a pretty easy decision for Shane Steichen right now.
I would agree with that, Mike. Last thing before we let you go here, how about Denver? What's the read on that Denver from your perspective? I think they're solid and they're pesky and a good, well coached. What's your takeaway on what you see for the Broncos at 3-2?
I love all those words, and I think that's a good testament. There's a lot of criticism of, hey, did the Jets overreact? And I would say no, they didn't, because again, Saleh was 20-36. I think the opposite end of that is, let's give Sean Payton and Vance Joseph credit. They lost to a Miami Dolphin team last year by giving up 70 points, and I'm sure there were a lot of hard conversations, but no one blinked. And now you have Vance Joseph arguably doing as good a job as maybe Brian Flores as defensive coordinators. It's a very well-coached team. They have a great secondary led by Patrick Surtain. And they have a quarterback that, to me, may not have the upside of Daniels or Caleb Williams, but I think, when you look at it, Bo Nix, he can have a really good NFL career. I don't know if it'll be great, but, they're going to be well coached. They're going to run the ball. They have a decent offensive line. And I don't know if they'll be in the top 7, but I think their arrow is up. And let's credit them for what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball.
Mike, Colin and I's first hurricane. Any suggestions for us, partner?
Yeah, stay safe up, my friends. It's look, we're on the East Coast here. We know, we should be okay. But boy, it's crazy. I mean, I'm no meteorologist, but that looks like one bad storm.
Yeah, it sure does. Mike, I appreciate you joining us as always. Thanks for the short notice. Great insight as always. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, guys. Thank you.
You got it. That's Mike Tannenbaum, current ESPN NFL insider, former general manager of the New York Jets, former executive vice president of football operations for the Dolphins. Said a couple interesting things there. He is in on what Denver's doing. He is in on what the Chiefs are doing, of course. But he thinks that the Evan Cohen idea of trading Deshaun Watson
ridiculous
for picks.
You need your picks. You just
You need your picks for what?
Colin, to draft a quarterback, to draft a team.
So then you got these guys are aging. I think it's a matter of they're going to let $50 million sit on the bench each year. They can't sign any free agents with that, and they're already paying so many guys on the team. They're trying to think. Let's free $100 million or have the 8th overall pick in the draft. That's what they're thinking.
I think you have to the one thing Brown fans are struggling with. It didn't work. Your window's over. It's time to restart.
So you want to blow it all up?
I'd hang on to Garrett. I'd hang on to Ward. Anyone not named Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward can go.
Owasu Koromora.
He could go.
What?
He could go. He's not. He plays a linebacker position, which I don't think is. I think you could find a lot of jocks out there.
I don't. I think Jock is awesome.
I think you could find.
He's a headhunter.
I think you could find Jocks out there. You can't find Myles Garrett.
So you want to blow this all up?
Besides, if you're not named Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward, and by the way, they're under contract, so they don't necessarily have a choice unless they force their ways out, which could happen if you blow it up. But Colin, read the room. Like, I don't want to say read the room. That's the wrong thing. But like, you know that this thing is a nightmare. You know you're not winning games this year.
Is the nightmare stemming from one person? Because they were 11-6 last year.
Yes.
Okay. So let me follow this up. If there's one person at fault here and there's one person that's making the storm go around, then if you could get rid of that one person and rid this team of this cancer for 2 picks, you're not considering it?
I think you need your first. And I think what people forget too, Colin, is that the Browns. I keep saying we. I apologize for that, folks. The Browns haven't had their first round picks for about 3 years now because of said person. So you're telling me I got to trade this guy? And I don't
think it'd be turf. I think that was the wrong instinct.
I understand what you and Mike T are saying. Maybe I just don't understand the cap as well as I probably should. But I can't, for the life of me, I can't fathom giving up more picks after not having first round picks for 3 years.
I understand it's not a pretty situation by any means, but if you're talking about a win now roster, having a great roster, all I've heard this year is about how great this roster is outside of Deshaun Watson. If there's one problem that needs to be addressed and it's him, are you going to pay the price to get rid of him? Now, do I think it'll be 2 first rounders? I don't think that would be the case, but it'd probably might be a future first and a third. It might be a future first or might be future second and a third.
This is something they have to just wear. They have to take it on the chin, man. It failed. It's one of the Mike T wouldn't necessarily go there with me, but from what I heard, he sounds like he agrees with me in a sense that this is the worst contract in NFL history.
It's bad, but if there's a way
not aware
to rid
it, bro.
If there's a way to cut off the limb that's infected, and like I don't know, I don't not see it. I see the vision there. But is it worth the price? That's the real question with the Browns. Is it worth the price? Paying money to get rid of him and get out of that contractual nightmare. We'll invite Christian Catt, our producer, into the program after this. But first, I got to tell you what I do in the mornings. I go over to F45 at West Palm Beach in the downtown area. It's group setting workouts. It's a social vibe of workouts. You have 2 coaches with you, hour, 45 minutes type of in and out type of environment. You do functional movements. It's not necessarily the Olympic lifts that you do by yourself in the gym, but it's more group setting. It's more motivating by the people next to you. It's more getting insights from the experienced coaches that F45 has to offer. They have it in Wellington. They have it in downtown. They have it over in Palm Beach Gardens. F45 is the place to be if you want to get a sweat going. I do it every morning, and it's a great way to kickstart my day with a win. I do it at F45. Go check out their Instagram, F45 West Palm Beach. We'll invite Christian Catt into the program, do a little 5 at 5 next. It's Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. If you're dreaming about football, ESPN 106.3 is better than a warm blanket. Thursday night, it's the 49ers and Seahawks immediately following Game 4 of the Guardians and Tigers. Football on ESPN 106.3 all night long.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
Experience the ultimate blend of luxury shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Gardens Mall. Just 1 mile east off I-95 on PJ Boulevard, this premier destination offers a mix of high-end brands, trendy retailers, and delicious dining. The mall's award-winning architecture, fine art, and lush landscaping create a stunning backdrop for interactive experiences and events. Whether you're shopping for the latest trends or enjoying the vibrant atmosphere, the Gardens Mall is Palm Beach County's top shopping and lifestyle destination.
Hurricane fans, get ready for one of the biggest rivalries in college football. On October 26th, It's the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles at Hard Rock Stadium. It's an orange out, wear orange, and bring the noise in a game you don't want to miss. The Canes and Knowles, October 26th. Tickets are going fast, so secure yours now by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at PNC.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's your boy JC. The Buffalo Bills caught lying about Josh Allen's concussion. We have the evidence. Today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Is racking up tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt really worth the 4-year degree? Not a lot of people think so anymore. A recent Wall Street Journal poll found that 56% of us believe that a skills-based education, that's a smarter investment than a 4-year degree. So why waste that time and money when there's an alternative right here in North Palm Beach that teaches the skills that people can actually use in today's world, and you can get those skills in just months, not years. I'm talking about CSB Media Arts Center, the home of Connecticut School of Broadcasting, which provides hands-on training in audio and video production, podcasting, sports broadcasting, social media marketing, filmmaking, coding, and so much more. For over 60 years, CSB has placed thousands of graduates in careers. Take a moment and visit GoCSB.com to schedule a tour. That's GoCSB.com.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Defined Tuesday afternoon, pre-hurricane. Of course, Hurricane Milton's going to be making his way through Florida in just a few short days. Everybody get safe, get whatever you need to prepare, or get out if you were nervous in the line of sight of that monstrous hurricane. Don't be stupid about it. Be safe. Keep an eye on it. But it's Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3. Mike and I, our first real experience of a Florida hurricane, and this guy is no doozy. This is going to come to us pretty quick. But that's on the negative side of things. What's on the bright side of things?
Vroom, vroom. Race fans, get those engines revving for the ultimate NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. The Craftsman Truck Series playoffs and NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs doubleheader are races you're not going to want to miss. We're going to have tickets for you on Theoretically Speaking coming up. We gave away our tickets on this show already. But be listening to our guy Theo Dorsey from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. for your chance to win some tickets. All you have to do is listen to Theoretically Speaking 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and follow on social media. We're giving away tickets for one of the best NASCAR races in South Florida. Once again, folks, NASCAR weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. The Craftsman Truck Series playoffs and NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. We're going to do trivia with Theo. You heard it here on this show already, but trivia with Theo. Is it the movie Cars, or is it NASCAR? We had a lot of fun with it on our show. Be listening to Theoretically Speaking, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday for your chance to win tickets.
C-Cat, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
You got a nice, bright pink, as Hawaiian of a Hawaiian shirt as it could possibly get today. That's what you got for us today.
What can I say? Yeah, you've got a quick change of tone in your attitude towards this hurricane. A couple of days ago, talking to Russo, he's like, hurricanes, a little overrated. I don't know.
Then I realized that the power of the radio, and that as somebody who is being broadcast, and I don't want to be like
sued.
Sued for what? I'm not telling anybody to do anything. But I also think I have some sort of due diligence to not downplay a major storm. I'm going to hold my thoughts on what I think realistically about the hurricane, but it is my job to make sure that people are going to be safe about this and not to be stupid.
I convinced my brother in St. Pete to come stay with me, so Joe is going to be arriving at my apartment here momentarily.
I think what you're doing is great, Russo. I'm not making fun of current you. I'm making fun of past you, if it makes sense. I'm making fun of you from 4 days ago.
You thought I was being stupid because I thought the hurricane was a little phony?
Yeah, I thought you were being stupid if Hurricane number 1, with no experience with hurricanes, you already made your
Hurricane
prejudgments.
Sandy, or Category 1.
I was there too. A tree fell down. We're all right.
Jersey Shore got destroyed. Notably.
Is that the level of impact it's going to have in West Palm? Trees falling and
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
probably
not too
a lot
sure
of flooding up. Make sure to check where you live if you're in a flood zone. That's what's important in this area.
That, and it's really bad, like where my elder brother is, St. Pete and the Gulf and Tampa. Like that's going to get. I don't want to say leveled. I think that would be wrong for me to say that, but
they're going to get destroyed.
There's a reason why people
get out of the city. Get out of the city.
Right.
They're evacuating to Miami. Like that's like a spot where you should go, and don't go north to Jacksonville. It's still in the path. It's crazy.
Yeah, nuts.
What's your take on this? How do you prepare? What is going to be the next 3 days? So hold on.
Well, we
talked
dogs.
about it yesterday.
Yeah.
You got dogs. It sounds like the dogs didn't work out as one would expect when you mix together a bunch of 2 mutts with 2 household dogs.
Yeah, listen, the thing is, it's 2 mutts are my dogs. And the dog that we fostered short-term from the animal shelter here in Palm Beach.
You just got it yesterday. It's already short-term. It's done?
No. You take the foster animal because of the hurricane coming, and then they get returned or they find a home pretty soon. The thing is, my dogs are bullies, and they were bullying the new kid on the block, even though the new kid on the block was twice their size. So Charlie and Hunter, my dogs, who I've had for 4 and 6 years respectively, they're not very nice to him. So I had to stand watch and stand guard, and I slept on the couch last night next to our foster dog, Hodor, while my girlfriend and our 2 dogs were upstairs in bed.
And this dog, Hodor, is a nice dog?
Oh, he's wonderful. Hodor.
He's cute. You're traumatizing this poor animal with your 2 untrained, absolute barbaric pets that you have lying around your house. Do you even bother to train these 2?
When we're talking levels of trauma, I think Hodor would rather deal with my 2 maniac dogs than the trauma of 8 inches of rain in his kennel.
Did Hodor tell you this? I think Hodor could swim. Can he deal with 2 rabid animals coming after him?
He's doing okay so far.
So you get him out of there or what?
No, he's at home. My girlfriend's taking care of them.
So you're just going to keep them separated?
What? No, they just they're territorial over their beds. That's the problem. My 2 dogs love their beds. So when Hodor was like, "Hey, where do I fit in this equation?" They were saying, "Hey, take a walk, pal." So then me and Hodor took a walk downstairs.
What kind of dogs are your dogs?
My dogs are both mutts. One of them's called a Carolina dog. Kind of looks like a mix between a German Shepherd and a Golden Retriever.
Okay.
He was the runt of the litter, so he's got kind of funny looking. And the other one's like a Belgian Malinois is the word for it. Kind of looks like a German Shepherd with less hair.
Okay.
So you have 2 canine unit dogs going after this tiny little Hodor.
He's cute. Hey, he's Hodor. Hang on, dude. Hodor's cute. I saw your Instagram.
Yes. Hodor is adorable. He's 102 pounds.
So this foster animal shelter goes, hey, we need some, mock parents just for a couple of days. Get us through the storm. We don't want these guys hanging around in the shelter during a big storm like this because it could be dangerous. Of course, the Good Samaritans of this great community
like me,
will call in and say, I could take them. We have a stable household. This is going to be a safe environment.
You're saying he lied on the form?
What Christian Cat failed to realize and failed to inform the pet shelter, I hope they're listening, is that I have 2 rabid, barbaric, violent, and downright dangerous animals in my house that are dangerous, territorial. They're going to come after this animal, and I know this, and I played dumb yesterday, but I know this. And I'm going to bring in this tiny little innocent animal who's just looking for a home and to show him what a poor home really looks like. And that's essentially what I'm getting at here.
Was there teeth being shown yesterday? Like, what are we?
Fair share amount of teeth were shown.
Snarls, Colin. Like
nobody got hurt. We're getting better every single day.
Any slashes?
Little paw They were playing. Got a little rough.
Playing.
Playing.
Is that what Michael Vick said?
there was no Vic activities in the cat household. These were two dogs that loved one another in due time. Tomorrow, I bet they're going to sleep in the same bed. They're going to curl up in the bed and sleep together. Listen, these new relationships, it's like a human foster home, if you would.
Now he's trying to damage control.
Yeah. Think about human fosters, children who lose their parents. Not laughing now,
Vic.
huh?
You went Vic, huh, bud?
Listen, there's a little bit of razzing going on.
You went Michael Vick, dude.
You know, sometimes some lunch is stolen.
We're all thinking it. Had to be brought up.
Oh,
you're welcome. All right, animal shelter.
Questionable animal shelter at that. Not passing the health inspections. Let's get this in 5 and 5.
Number 1.
You guys will not paint me as a bad guy when I'm clearly the hero in the situation.
You did go sleep with the dog on the couch. Yeah,
I did.
He's a good guy.
We're going to give him a bath today.
Awesome.
He deserves it. Hodor, if you're looking for a dog who is mild-mannered.
You're trying to get rid of him.
Yes, I want to get him a forever home.
Oh, that's fair.
Isn't that the... Yeah, I was about to say, that's like the whole thing.
That's the whole idea. Hodor, he's adorable. He's nice. He gives kisses. He's perfect.
Now, Seacat, they did this once before, not to keep on it, but they did this once before, and they had a tough time saying goodbye, right?
Did it in Oklahoma. We cried. Tough scene, but she found a forever home.
Good.
Number 1. With the news of Robert Saleh, not Salah, Rizzo. Robert
It's not Salah?
It's never been
Wait,
Salah.
it's not Bob?
It's Bob. It
You
can
can go
be Bob.
Bob.
You can go
Colin,
Bob.
it's not Bob?
You can go Bob.
Bob Salah?
Bob Saleh.
Saleh's been relinquished of his head coaching duties for the Jets. Will there be another midseason head coach firing in 2024?
There's an elephant in the room with Doug Peterson. I hope he is. I hope this is the first domino to fall. I'm not sure that there will be. And it pains me to say that, but the next one in line has got to be Peterson, right?
I agree, and I do think there is, and I do think it's Doug Peterson. Sadly,
You think they?
I think the halfway point.
I hope you're right.
I think,
don't know.
Colin, the only reason I think so, I think you're going to get to the halfway point, and the Jags are going to be flirting with the Browns and the Patriots and company, and maybe the Titans for having one of the worst, records in the league. There were expectations there. What did you tell me your owner said before the year?
This is the best team Jacksonville's ever put together. Now, they go to London twice, and you got to understand the pattern there. They're good in London.
They are.
And they're there for 2 straight weeks against the Bears and the Patriots.
Well, they won't beat the Bears.
But in London, it's a crapshoot. We know this. So I don't know if they all of a sudden they go 2-0. I'm not saying let's keep Peterson around. I still want him gone. But I'm not saying look out, but I know the pattern with London.
But like anyone else, I don't think Stefanski gets let go by the Browns. I don't think...
No. Callahan will not get let go.
Mayo, first-year head coach.
Definitely not. So nobody in the AFC North, nobody in the... it's really just Peterson that's...
Dable saved face. He's won a couple games in a row.
Dable's going to be just fine. I think they play hard for him. I think that's an underrated team.
2 out of 3. Sorry, 2 out of 3 for the Giants.
I give them... And they played very, very well against Seattle. They should have won that game by more, and they didn't. But number 2.
Number 2.
Russell Wilson. Remember that name? Hey, set to practice for the Steelers after being inactive the first 5 games of the season. Is this Justin Fields' job? Just point blank, where Russell Wilson is now the backup?
I mean, you asked us 2 weeks ago, we'd probably both say yes. But I mean, at a certain point, I don't know how willing Tomlin is. I mean, we've seen it. But I don't know how willing he is to really go flip-flop. If you're going to make a decision, stick with it.
But has Fields done anything where you're like, oh my God, yes, he's the starter? I don't think that's the case. I don't think Fields has won the job.
Yeah, the problem is
they've lost 2 games in a row too, Colin, in a division that's winnable now.
And there's still 2 games. They're still over 500. So all of a sudden, Tomlin has a position here where he could look bad. If he brings him in, there's no going back. You got to stick with Wilson at this point. If you sub him in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start losing games and the team takes a dramatic fall off, that's going to reflect poorly on him. Although if you stick with Fields, you could bench him at a certain point. It's a tricky spot.
It is. But if there's one person I trust to manage a tricky spot, it's Mike Tomlin. I know angry Steeler fans, oh, he won with Cowher's team. Oh, we're mediocre. Oh, woe is me. We're the Steelers. We're not competing for championships like we should be. He's a damn good head coach. He could handle this tricky situation. I personally think Fields is probably the quarterback. Wilson will be number 2.
Number 3.
Number 3.
The Kansas City Chiefs. They moved to 5-0 after winning last night against the Saints. Are this year's Chiefs better than last year's Super Bowl winning Chiefs?
The reason I put this on there, Colin, what's the difference? The difference is Kelsey is not playing Kelsey level, and they're still 5-0.
And he didn't do it. And he wasn't great during the regular season last year. He's better than what he is now. But then he turned it up in the postseason.
But the reason I put this on here is because with all of the talks in the offseason of Chiefs and the team going, oh, we didn't like how we won. I do think last year's team is, I know they lost week 1 too, Colin. But I do think last year's team is probably better than this year's team. But somehow the Chiefs are still 5-0. That's culture. That's coaching. That's quarterback play. That's defense. That's a well-run organization.
Yeah, maybe a little less talent, but way more in experience now, too. So the more they win, the more comfortable and capable they are going to continue to win.
I still stand by what I said earlier in the show. If I'm logging on to Hard Rock Bet, there is one team I'm betting on to win the Super Bowl, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs. I would not even field another team.
Russo, you dismiss the Ravens as legitimate contenders to the Chiefs because they lost a Thursday night football game in week 1.
Colin, I think it's more or less the playoffs, right? And the lack of success.
So it's a team that hasn't done anything in the playoffs, hasn't been able to beat the Chiefs in a tough spot, and lost to them 4 weeks ago, that all of a sudden that's their rival?
I think that they are a legitimate contender to the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't think you can chalk in the Chiefs for a Super Bowl appearance.
I do think they're solid.
Christian, remember what I said earlier? We know the Ravens are probably going to win that division. We know the Ravens are probably only going to lose 5 or 6 games, have double-digit, have a double-digit win season, and have Lamar Jackson play at an elite level. All right, but I just have such a sour taste, Colin, after the Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half. The Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half, and they still won the AFC Championship. That's more or less why when I pull up my Hard Rock Bet app, that's still the only reason why I will only take the Chiefs on a future right now.
Hey, I saw Lamar Jackson stiff arm a man into the earth on Sunday.
It's amazing.
To beat the Bengals, come from behind.
We're not arguing.
What's been the criticism for Lamar Jackson?
I'm a Lamar guy.
The fumble, the first drive of overtime, that completely got, because they missed the field goal there, and the Bengals had that 2 terrible runs, and terrible drive, missed the field goal, and then Derrick Henry goes 50 yards there.
C-Cat, I've defended Lamar on this show, okay? I want that to be clear for the record. But when it comes to the playoffs and the Chiefs, partner, there's no discussion right now. The sad part is, until it actually happens, there's no discussion.
Number 4.
Aaron Judge's 33.9 strikeout rate is the second worst in postseason history. Minimum 200 plate appearances. Can the Yankees still win the World Series, even with Judge's struggles in the postseason?
Now, Colin, the reason I put this on here, number 1, we talked about this yesterday, and I was with you, C-Cat. I thought Judge was going to have a big game last night. He didn't play horrible. He had a hit in the game, but the strikeouts is what sticks out to me. Put the ball in play, son. Put the ball in play. Get it in the air. Put it on the ground. You can't have empty at-bats in the playoffs. And I know it's cliche, but if you have your stars disappear in the playoffs, you're not going to be around long. I thought last night was a disgrace. I thought Chaz Chisholm, we'll get to his comments later on in the show.
Disgrace.
I thought it was a Bush league. You got to go up. C-Cat, you got to go up 2-0 at home versus the Royals.
Yeah.
Now, we could sit here and my guards, I have the same take on my guards. Disgrace that you lost to the Tigers at home. But this is the Yankees, all right? Everyone's expecting you to beat the AL Central and go to the World Series. You cannot have Aaron Judge with those numbers and be successful in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
The Stars
disgraceful
have pretty much played great for these postseason teams so far. Harper, an excellent postseason player. Tatis has been outstanding this postseason. Ohtani had a great first game, iffy second game. Zach Wheeler, terrific playoff performer. Tarek Skubal has been terrific in the playoffs. All of these guys are playing well. Mookie Betts is a great postseason performer. Hasn't been great this year, but is a great postseason performer nonetheless. This is a recurring theme now with Judge. He's going to have to figure this out because the Yankees do not have enough firepower to hang around with a pesky team like the Royals. The Yankees need to out-hit you, and they need to beat you big. They're not going to beat you by edging in a couple runs. I know they did in Game 1, but that was because of the bad call.
I was about to say.
Kansas City knows how to win pesky. That's how they want to play. You're playing to their game. You got to play to yours.
And I'll defend the Yankees a little bit. I know I was very tough on that call on Chisholm, but there's no say that the Royals are even going to come back and win that game. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say, even if that call isn't made, that the Royals are going to be able to put up a run?
It was a go-ahead run,
but to Colin's point, C-Cat, we're a bad call away from this thing maybe being 0-2.
You think Jazz Chisholm last night after the game,
he
said they're still going to win the series, and then he said
it was a
they got lucky?
It was a disgrace.
Surely that won't slap them in the face.
That was a more or less, Christian, C-Cat. I don't know why I keep calling you Christian right now. More or less, C-Cat. When I said disgraceful, I more so said about the comments, but once I thought about it again, I really do think it's kind of disgraceful that they're not up 2-0 in this series, too.
They didn't play well last night. The bats were half asleep. And Rodon was fired up after 3 innings, screaming at everybody. And then he starts getting banged around and doesn't last 5 innings.
His wife's active on Twitter, getting hyped up.
Stupid.
Do Yankee fans like him?
No.
Had a good season this year.
No.
Was bad last year.
No,
and
I don't think they do.
I'm with Colin on that. I don't think they do.
The Yankee fans do not like the people that are outward, personality, screaming at everybody.
Except for Nick Swisher.
Bro, Ohio, Nick Swisher. One of the worst trades in Guardians history.
But Jazz Chisholm doing this, saying this garbage. This is not... People like to hate on the traditional aspect of the Yankee way. It's not the Yankee way. That's what the fans are accustomed to. Aaron Judge carries himself really, really well.
Still feels the same that we're going to win it. I don't feel like anybody feels any different. We're going to go out there and do our thing. We still feel like any other team, no other team is better than us. We had a lot of missed opportunities tonight, so they just got lucky.
I'm sure. Do you have the audio that we don't have to play? We'll play that next.
Oh, you don't want to hear me butcher
Number 5.
Number 5.
All Major League Baseball division series are tied up 1 game apiece for the first time in division series era. Is this the best case scenario for baseball?
I think
number 1, without a doubt. Go ahead, Mike.
94, for extra context too, 95 and 84, Colin, were the 2 other instances where it was 1-1. We just didn't call it the division era, whatever. But I think it is best case scenario. I think it's great. I think they would argue that I think baseball behind closed doors, Colin, would argue they need LA and they need New York to win, but it adds to the drama that is the playoffs. These playoffs have been amazing. I know I was on the losing end yesterday.
Terrific.
My team was on the losing end yesterday, and I was sick to my stomach that, Clase got touched up on that home run, but what a game that was. And what a game the nightcap was with the Yankees and the Yankees losing. Yes, this is great for baseball, and I think a lot of people are watching right now.
Yeah, it's good. And they did well over the weekend. Mets-Phillies game 1 on Saturday against college football did $4.5 million, and that would have been the second highest rated college football game on Saturday.
That was the type of game, the ebbs and flows, the lead changes, that made you tune in after it already began. You didn't plan your day thinking you were going to watch Mets-Phillies, but when you saw the action online, you turned the game on the second string.
And they had Kodai Senga. There was a story there. With Zach Wheeler's start, there was a lot of fun there.
And C-Cat, taking it a step further, maybe you started it on the second screen, and then it became the main screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
that's kind of how it happened for me. I know I was running around with family this weekend, but definitely turned that one on the main screen at one point.
Yeah, I give, for example, Tennessee, Arkansas did $5.3 million. Iowa, Ohio State did $4.5. But Mets-Phillies game 1 did 4.8. Mets-Phillies game 2 against the NFL, which is a little more strong, did 3.4. And the Padres-Dodgers game 2, which had that stoppage and was on a Sunday as well, did 3.4 million. It's pretty good. And it's nothing compared to football, of course. You can't compare it to that. But for the baseball standards, it's better than what the NBA does. We want to get into what Jazz Chisholm had to say post-game next on Russo and Rizzo live here, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slpt.com. That's slpt.com.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. If you're dreaming about football, ESPN 1063 is better than a warm blanket. Thursday night, it's the 49ers and Seahawks immediately following Game 4 of the Guardians and Tigers. Football on ESPN 1063 all night long.
What's the Anna Jar and Levine difference? If you're the victim of a car crash, you will always speak to a lawyer. You'll always get the highest standard of care from our dedicated legal team, and we'll always fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. That's the Anna Jar and Levine difference. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Don't wait. Call 1-800-747-FREE. In office, West Palm Beach.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle, protected by Progressive, on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Hey, it's your boy JC. The Buffalo Bills caught lying about Josh Allen's concussion. We have the evidence. Today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Welcome to Homestead Miami, your home for the racing high life. A track as vibrant and colorful as South Florida. An Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series playoffs doubleheader on Saturday. A Cup Series playoffs showdown on Sunday. And it's all caliente. Side by side for the race lead. NASCAR playoffs weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, October 26th and 27th. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Hell of a job, guys.
Colin Russo here with ESPN West Palm, and this is your Miami Dolphins Minute. Well, the Tyler Huntley-led Miami Dolphins are back in the win column for the first time since Tua Tagovailoa went down with a concussion. The Fins won 15-10 in Foxborough in a divisional game against the New England Patriots. Both Jalen Wright and Raheem Mostert rushed for 80 yards or more, and Tyler Huntley, of course, finished with 194 yards passing. The Dolphins now head into their bye week sitting at 2-3. They visit the Colts in Indianapolis afterwards and look to reintroduce Tua Tagovailoa into the lineup, starting Week 8 against the Cardinals at home when he is eligible to return from the IR. Has head coach Mike McDaniel started to turn a corner and getting his team ready to play every week? We wait and see with a week of rest coming in for the Dolphins. That was your Miami Dolphins Minute, presented by Hard Rock Bet, Florida's official sportsbook. For the first time ever in Florida, bet on Dolphins all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Let's get back to the Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Rolling on here, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063. The Phillies and the Mets are finally underway here. The Mets early lead 1-0 after a Pete Alonso solo shot over Aaron Nola. They got 2 men on base, awaiting a replay of a Nick Castellanos robbery near the wall at the back track at the warning track. But 1-0 Mets, bottom second at the moment. 888-760-3776. We go to the phone lines really quick. We go to New Jersey. Cologne from New Jersey, you're joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, listen, first of all, I was at the game yesterday, the Yankee game, and stadium was electric. And after the first 3 innings, I threw out Don Haddock. He had 7 strikeouts, and they totally lost it in the 4th inning, And you're right. Aaron Judge has to hit. He struck out swinging with 2 men out in the bottom of the first, and after that, I kept on making outs. I don't think I got 1 hit at all. This guy has not hit in the postseason in his career, and and Chisholm, I don't like his comments. I didn't like after he hit the home run. He hot dogged around the bases when you're down 4-2. that's not the Yankee way either. So there's a lot of pressure on these Yankees because, if we get to a Game 5, if Rodon pitches again, so right now my confidence level is real low on this team because Judge not hitting and the whole team actually not hitting.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Cologne. Thanks for joining in. You're right. Yeah, you got to be nervous. Can you put Rodon in a big spot and get you 6-7 innings? There's no confidence level into that idea at all. So it was an ugly one, and you can't place it all on Judge. The rest of the bats were definitely asleep as well, but he is he's the horsepower of that offense. You got to make sure you get something out of him. You can't just rely on, a couple Gleyber Torres getting a solo shot in the first. You can't rely on that. They've been relying on Judge all year, and he can't shrivel up when the lights are his brightest. So there's a problem there, but I think the story coming out of yesterday, too, is not only that loss and the Royals tying it up, but how Jazz Chisholm, the midseason acquisition from the Miami Marlins, the infielder for the Yankees, had handled postgame. He spoke to a couple of things, but more importantly, into how luck favored into the side of the Royals. Take a listen to Jazz Chisholm postgame last night.
How different does the series feel now after Game 2 compared to after Game 1?
Still feels the same that we're going to win it, I don't feel like anybody feels any different, We're going to go out there and do our thing still. We still don't feel like any team is better than us. Like you said, we had a lot of missed opportunities tonight, so they just got lucky.
That was Jazz Chisholm postgame, and a lot of that I didn't necessarily have a problem with. It's just the ending that really doesn't sit well with me. You're allowed to think that nobody can beat us. You're allowed to say that. But saying it immediately after a loss, number one, I think is a little dicey, and I understand you want to maintain confidence. But saying the other team got lucky when they outplayed you, the offense has been playing better than your offense, and all of a sudden now they're lucky. It's a bad look.
It's a bad look, and it's a distraction, and it's bulletin board material for the Royals.
Yeah, surely this won't blow up in their face.
Right,
and this is what people are going to be circling back on.
If I'm the manager for the Royals, I'm putting what he said on the chalkboard today, and I'm going, listen, we have them right where we want them. We did our job. We won a game on the road. I think that's what all of these road teams are saying, Colin. They did their job. We won on the road, and let's go close this thing out at home. I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of these series ended after the home games.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if a lot of these series ended after this homestand for the lower seeds.
Yeah. This is a problem for the Yankees now. They have added a whole lot more to the bulletin board smelling blood material for the Kansas City Royals. Next week, you want to taste some food?
Yes.
You want to taste out some perfectly made, whether a variety of different foods in the area from all the chefs? Mike can tell you all about it for the Boca Bowl tailgate.
Folks, the annual Boca Raton Bowl's ABC's Supply Great Chefs Tailgate Showcase, presented by Boca Raton Innovation Campus and CP Group, heats up on Tuesday, October 15th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Join ESPN West Palm's Theo Dorsey at Brick in Boca Raton as dozens of local chefs, breweries, and cocktail masters serve their favorite tailgate classics. Tickets are on sale now. Includes all food samplings, entertainment, beer, wine, cocktails, and soft drinks. Visit spiritofgivingnetwork.org/events. That's spiritofgivingnetwork.org/events to purchase your tickets today. Once again, folks, it's the annual Boca Raton Bowl's ABC Supply Chef's Tailgate Showcase presented by Boca Raton Innovation Campus and CP Group. We'll see you there on the 15th.
Now, our great producer, C-Cat, who's a Yankee fan, I wanted to get your take on this. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. But now you're a Yankee fan, and we already know how much of a target on the back they already have. But now, there's one thing to have a target on your back just because you're a big brand and you're the big bad Yankees. But now it's another thing when you say something personal to the Royals team that you're currently playing. So there's a level of, all right, well, play into the villain role, but there's also a level of creating something out of nothing, and that is what the Yankees have done here. And I want to get your takeaway on that.
Yeah, I feel like that's the stuff you say in the locker room because baseball, let's be honest with one another, baseball is a sport and a game that does involve a lot of luck. You get sawed off, pitcher makes the perfect pitch, Batter swings out of his shoes. The ball finds its way blooped in behind second base for a base hit. Did the batter earn that one, or did they get lucky? Answer, they got lucky. So you know what? Behind closed doors, I think he's right. He can be right. But you can't say it in front of a microphone immediately after a loss, because it can be thrown right back in your face. And the Yankees have had issues with this, with the smallest of things, that because they are the Yankees, they'll make the smallest of comments, and the opponents will take that, anything they can, make it more than what it was, and make it bulletin board material. When you make it easy for them, you're just being silly.
2 months ago, this guy was a Marlin, too. I think there's...
Talking from his white horse. Like, you got some nerve.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you just joined the team, and now you're throwing the whole... Essentially what I think this did is he threw the whole team under the bus. And if I'm Aaron Boone, I'm having a conversation with Chaz Chisholm. Like, hey, bud, we need you this playoff run, but I can't have you saying stuff like that. That's a distraction. That's bulletin board material. That's just stuff we don't need to give the other team. That's the conversation I'm having with Chaz Chisholm.
What's your confidence level lie, C-Cat?
If I were to give you a % chance the Yankees win this series in any amount of games.
This is not even just objectively thinking. This is from your perspective, gut.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of emotional oomph in my Yankees fandom year over year. Just ever since the peak of it with a 2017 team that lost to the Astros when they were admitted to be cheating, or they never admitted it, but they were found out they were cheating. Every year over year, my heart gets taken out of it. So I can speak objectively here. I think it's a coin flip. I think it's quite literally a coin flip on who wins this series. That's what I'm looking at right now between the Yankees and Royals. And you think about how this very voice was on these very airwaves yesterday, as confident as can be. You got to win both games at home.
That's how much one series can change off of one game.
You got Dude, the road wins are so important. That's why these series being tied 1-1, that's why it's must-see TV, I think, on all 4 series that are going on right now. Because the road team has a chance to take advantage, especially in a 5-game series.
It's ridiculous.
C-Cat, I hate the 5-game series,
it's
by the way.
It's a 162-game series you get in a series. Like one of the, let's do some math here, a lot. Well, like 70 different series in baseball. That's wrong math there. About 50 different series, 3-game series in a Major League Baseball season, and you're boiling it down to one of them. That's ridiculous.
Colin, I hate
the sample size is stupid.
Hate the 5-game.
You want to do 7?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the playoffs.
We want the better teams.
Listen, the wild card's fine. The wild card's fine the way it is.
There's no guarantee.
You're lucky to be in. In my opinion,
there's teams that win in 7 that shouldn't win in 7 too.
Okay, but
at least it's a good sample size.
They've got to prove it for longer.
Like, Colin, my argument here is it's 7-game, I think, is going to win. The better team during that span is going to win in 7 games.
So you want to eliminate the idea that baseball has a lot of parity and anything can happen? You want to eliminate that?
Yeah, I prefer the best baseball team to be crowned the best baseball team at the end of the season.
Do you prefer the playoffs in the NBA comparatively to the MLB?
I feel like the NBA, there's a bigger difference between the good teams
the best team always wins.
And the bad teams.
But it's a lopsided league. That's the difference.
The best team always wins. That's what you guys want.
No, it's not what I want.
So what do you want?
I want 7 games.
Because
I think if a road team wins, against the home team in the first 2 games, it's a significant advantage heading home. Yes. You have a chance to win 2 games in a row on your home field and close the series out.
That's not a reason. What's the reason?
The reason is that I think it's an unfair advantage for the team that's not better than you according to your record on the standings.
That didn't earn it. They have an advantage.
Yes.
They have an advantage if they beat you in your ballpark? Yeah.
But like the fact that the series could end right then and there and you don't have to go back to said stadium who has the home field advantage, I think is a bit ridiculous.
Well, when you don't use your home field advantage, you lose.
And I rebuttal with this. The NBA, remember what they used to do at the finals?
Yeah, 2-3-2.
They got rid of that, and that's why.
I think the NBA postseason is by far the worst in all major sports.
It's the worst in all major sports because they have
you want these guys to get more of an advantage when they blow home field. This is the game.
The NBA is the worst playoffs for a lot of different reasons, and it's not because of the 7 games. And I'm not going to get into why I think the NBA is bad.
Would greatly benefit off of a 5-game series in that first round. Greatly benefit. Totally. But that's besides the point. You guys want the best team to win. Why? This is part of the fun.
I don't think that's what I'm. I think you're missing the point
You're
of what I'm trying to say.
speaking as an A's fan.
You're
That's
missing
the
my
problem.
point. You're not understanding my point.
Your point is all right.
Like
think from the
Detroit
Guardians'
could very
perspective. The Guardians blew the game at home. Blew with a capital B.
Thanks.
But because they had a better record in the regular season, they should be rewarded with more home games, and they're not, despite the fact that they blew the game and changed the tide in the series.
I just want it to
They
be.
get the tide in the series because they have Game 5.
I want first to four. This is the divisional round. There's only 4 series going on right now. It should be 7 games.
What is the?
There's 4 series going on.
Then the playoffs are going to go, another week longer, and they're going to be further and further in November. And especially with a lot of East Coast teams, you're going to see weather coming up. That's another thing to consider.
Less off days. That's
Less off
fine.
days.
These are baseball players. They're not football players. They can play back to back to back to
I
back
hate
because
the
they
off
do
days.
it every single
Colin,
day in the
I
season.
could argue that if the Guardians played on Sunday, they win that game. They had all the momentum, and then you got to stop. They finally stopped Detroit.
Don't blow the game,
They finally
Mike.
stopped
Mike,
Detroit.
Mike, don't blow the game. You're pissing me off here. Don't blow the game. Don't get the best reliever in baseball. Don't give up a 3-run shot. What you're saying is nonsense. It is nothing. They do not deserve to get another place of home field because of needing 7 games. They blew the game, the regular season. They're in the playoffs. They're here now. This doesn't make any sense. It's a 5-game series. Deal with it. Steal one in Detroit. And then, because you have a better record in the regular season, you get the Game 5 at home. There's your advantage. You want your advantage? Earn yourself it by winning one in Detroit.
I don't like the idea of this season ending in Detroit. I do not like that. You should be able to come home. 5
Win
games.
the game.
This is the divisional round. This isn't the Mickey Mouse wild card round. We could go 7 games.
Win the game. You know what you want to lose? Guess what? You can lose in their ballpark. What's the game? In any league that has a multi-game series, you steal one on the road and the tide switches in your favor. Same thing goes with baseball. I don't think this is a 7-game series problem. I think this is a problem of these teams that have a lot of time off, a week off, and they blow a game at home. You've seen that now in 4 different series. Go bet the games tonight on Hard Rock Bet. Go bet the football games this weekend on Hard Rock Bet. It's the first time ever in Florida where you could legally bet on football on Hard Rock Bet. Last year, you couldn't bet legally in Florida until week 14. Now we're entering week 6, week 5 in college football in the NFL. You could finally get involved and bet on Hard Rock Bet. It's the only sports book in Florida. Bet on touchdown scores, passing yards, other stats, total points, who will win, and more. Don't want to bet a ton of money? Try a parlay. Put everything together. Pair it. Florida Better in week 1. Put 16 slide parlay together. Bet $15. Got $104,000 in winnings off of that parlay alone. It's got the sophistication that the experienced player loves, but the simplicity to that point that the new player needs. It's got both sides. The Discover page is so useful. See the trendy picks. See what the popular promos are. Hard Rock Bet has you covered. Go try it. All you got to do is get started and download Hard Rock Bet on the App Store or Google Play Store or go online to hardrock.bet. Try Hard Rock Bet. Try Hard Rock Bet now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Your first bet can be a parlay, prop, over, whatever you like to bet, any game you choose. You either win your first bet or get back the same amount you bet as a bonus bet. Try Hard Rock Bet today. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, with the aforementioned 1-1 series are now sitting at 1-1. Which one is shaping up for the tightest finish? We'll get into that next. We close out the program. It's Russo Rizzo live here at ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hey, it's your boy JC. The Buffalo Bills caught lying about Josh Allen's concussion. We have the evidence. Today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Rolling on here, closing out the program. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063 at the City Place Studios. The MLB Divisional Series all tied at 1-1. Mike and CCAT, surprise, surprise, his teams who blew Game 2 of their respective series at home now want a pity game back at home because they're upset that the other team that stole a game on the road now has the chance, like any postseason in the history of sports works, to close the series in their home ballpark because you stole one on the road. But you guys want it to be 7 games because of, to Christian Cat's point, you want it to be for parity's purposes and you want the best team to win. But to Mike's point, from my read, you want to be rewarded further because you had such a strong regular season.
Yeah, and just because the amount of games you play. You played 100. I hate how long the baseball season is. I understand that the true loyalists of this beautiful game always want their 162 for the record books and the statistics and whatever. But I just feel like the Guards won the division. And ending the season, and all right, Colin, maybe you struck a nerve a little bit. Maybe I am scared. Partner, I'm going to say it. I'm scared of Detroit and going to Detroit. I think there is a damn good chance that this series could end in Detroit, and we don't see the Guards back home in Cleveland. I think that's wrong. If that happens, that is wrong. 162 games, you win your division. And CCAT, I don't know how you can't have the same opinion as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, I have the same opinion, but not the same reasoning, because I hate bringing up my own team in the argument because I feel like it disqualifies me. So, Mike, you're doing me a disfavor right now.
Yeah, and listen, Colin's right. It absolutely struck a nerve.
162 games versus 80 games in the NBA. They should not have the same amount of postseason games in their series.
They should flop.
Well, the NBA's postseason is too long. It's too long. That postseason starts in April. It's done in June.
Yeah, and people watch those games a bunch more than their regular season games for a reason, because those are the games that matter.
I'll defend.
And why is baseball great? Because every pitch matters. Every game matters. What is the problem with the MLB regular season? Doesn't feel like every game matters. You guys are wanting to diminishing the impact of each and every game.
Reward it.
But you guys are trying to diminish the impact of every. That's the part of the beauty of the 5-game series. Every pitch matters. That's why the wild card is so interesting. Every pitch matters.
That's
a wild card. The wild card should be like that. You didn't win your division, so you got to fight for your life to compete in the playoffs.
And so they expanded it in one more game or one more set of games in the divisional series up until the CS.
But I'm not just saying extend these divisional series to 7, because I think my change will be much more radical and much more accurate to crowning the best team in baseball. It's extending the World Series to an 11-game series. CS to a 9-game
you're losing
series.
me. CCAD, you're losing me now. You're losing me now.
162 games.
Let me tell you, how many baseball games you watched in the regular season?
Probably half the Yankee
So you're
games.
telling me you watched 80 Yankee games?
Yeah.
So you're going to sit here and tell me that the casual fan who cannot sit through a game, they changed the pitch clock for it, is now going to sit through 11 games in the World Series?
If it goes to 11 games,
20, you want the series that you want it to end by Christmas? Like,
Colin, all I'm saying is the wild card is fine. I think once you get to the divisional round, you can make them 7.
You probably can, but I like the gradual increase.
And if you can't, Colin, if you're quote unquote the better team heading into the series and you can't win a best of 7, you don't belong.
You could argue the same with a best of 5. Win at home. That's the theme of the show. Mets-Phillies. Mets up 1-0, bottom 3 at Citi Field right now. It's Russo and Rizzo. Take care of yourselves in the hurricane. Stock up if you need to. If you're a doomsdayer and you like to get the whole Costco menu, please do that if you have to. Stay safe during Hurricane Milton. We're not going to be in studio tomorrow and Thursday. Hopefully, we'll be back in Friday. It's been a fun one. That was Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Colin Russo, of course, as always. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay focused. We'll see you next time.
It's that time of year again. Preparations are underway for Clinics Can Help's 11th annual Golf Classic at the Wanderers Club. This fun-filled event works to raise money to provide customized medical equipment and supplies to many children in our area in need. Get your foursome together and join the festivities on Friday.